We've been wanting to do this video for a while. We figured this beef was going to be perfect. It's you can see right here, American Tajima Wagyu, full blood, raised by Secure Farms. We're doing a bone-in beef brisket smoke. We've never done one before. We've seen other people do them online. We're going to take it one step further. We're doing a bone-in beef brisket and a boneless beef brisket side by side. They're going to go in the smoker. We're going to do, see how long they take, time, temp, all that stuff. We got to get started by pulling out the first bone-in brisket. First, we just 5th and 6th rib is where we make our cut. Super high marbling on this beef. Just incredible. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a chunk. So right here you have the whole entire beef chuck. Shank, brisket, arm, chuck roast, neck. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this up on our saw. I'm gonna separate this shank and the brisket from the rest of the chuck, and then we will trim up this brisket a little bit, but we're gonna leave the bone in it, which is something that we don't typically do. So, be interesting. So we start by separating the shank from that brisket. Bring her over here. And I want to remove just a little bit of this cover fat, just because this Tajima Wagyu is pretty loaded up on fat. So I just want to take a little bit of that cover fat off there. We're going to leave a decent amount though, because we want it to stay nice and juicy. Look at that. Look at that marbling in there. Just absolutely incredible. So we've got the bone-in brisket. Not too much to cutting this one, because we pretty much just cut it off the carcass and didn't really do a whole lot to take a little bit of fat off. So now that we have this one cut, let's cut the boneless one. We'll get them side by side, and then from there, they'll go to the smoker. Tajima Wagyu Bourbon mash fed brisket. Let's start trimming it out. Just want to go right between that fat layer and that meat. Let's get this breastbone pulled out of here. Man, look at that marbling in that thing. Wow, look at that. That's going to make an amazing brisket. Take a little bit of this heavy fat off of here. Whenever you smoke it, it's a little bit hard to render down that much fat cover, so we'll just take some of that fat off. And like mentioned earlier, this goes into ground products, some venison, and things like that. So certainly not going to throw this delicious fat away. And there you have a brisket ready to go on the smoker. Gonna film again real quick. 40 cases of wings. Let's hold it together here, folks. I'm almost done.
Ready, go.
Here's the boneless brisket, and here's the bone-in. Boy, look at the size difference between those two. You know what I should probably do? I should probably get these on the scale, because we want to weigh them. We want to see what the difference is. So, get our tear off of there. So, that's with, we have to put a lug on the scale, because that way I don't mess up the tear, but 24.30 on the bone-in one. Now let's get the boneless one. Wow, 12.25. So like 10-pound difference, base a little over 10-pound difference. So you ready for this one, Scott? Look at that. This is going to be a cool one because I've always wanted to do a bone-in brisket. Bone-in, boneless. What do you
get? Brisket and ribs. It's all one fell swoop.
Absolutely.
Those look great.
What do you want to season them with? Some
It's
black for sure. Our black blend, coffee, molasses creates a fantastic bark on brisket. We're using black. Just go black. Okay, black.
Gotta go black.
Black seasoned bourbon mash fed American Tajima Wagyu full blood. Next step, we have something pretty cool to show you though. We have a Bearded Butcher branded pellet smoker, and that's what these are going on. You're gonna have to wait and see what it is. So we're headed there. We're headed there next.
Fuel in the way of the pellets.
That's right. So we'll get them seasoned next, and then onto the smoker. It's just after lunch. Everybody's excited. You can see everybody's in here. Good reason to be excited because there's 2 boxes. We told you we had something special. But check this out, Spencer. This right here.
Nobody wants to go cut meat.
Made in America. Let's get the cardboard off of one of these because we can't wait.
Did you peek before I got out?
We did not peek. No peeking. Wonder which is the front, which is the back.
That's the front. That's the front. Oh no, just kidding. That's the back. It's the front of the back.
That's the front of the back. Check that out. Oh, baby.
Ooh, yeah.
Look at that. Can we spin it? Oh, you want to get this one? We can get the front.
Yeah.
Wow. The official unboxing of a partnership between the Bearded Butchers and Yoder Smokers. This is a YS640, and you can see branded Bearded Butcher blend seasoning, the Bearded Butchers. This is what we're going to be using to smoke that bone-in versus boneless Tajima.
Video. I gotta correct you is how you say Tajima.
Go ahead.
Tajima.
Tajima. I've been practicing.
Tajima.
I was at home. I
heard
had Google up and I was like, Tajima.
I think I heard a Tajimi in there. This is boneless. Tajima. Bourbon mash fed briskets, so check them out. What do you think, Scott?
They look awesome. Can't wait to get some smoke rolling. All right, we're ready to go on the pit. So we talk a lot about meat over a fire. We'd love it if that's a wood fire. Today we're going to be doing the briskets on the Yoder pit. So Yoder YS640, made in America out of Yoder, Kansas. So we really excited about using this pit. It's so awesome just how well built these are. They're really known for their offset smokers, and they've kind of done a pellet grill in the style of in basically the quality of an offset. Fuel source. We're going to be using a wood pellet. What's unique about these come from the Stagmeyer Stave Mill out of Minnesota. These are a white oak pellet, which is a great universal smoking wood. And what's interesting about this particular product, the Stagmeyer mill has been producing staves since the 60s. These white oak staves are coveted because they're a tight grain. Now the pellets that I'm holding here are super clean. So this wood has never touched the ground. There's no bark, there's no dirt. They're tight grain, fast growing white oak, preferred by a lot of wineries and distilleries because of the quality of the staves to make their barrels to put their bourbon, their whiskey, their wine. Now this company's left with the sawdust, the takeoffs, they turned into a pellet. And the fuel source is extremely important. Now, what's great about this particular product, now this has never touched the alcohol itself. This is the raw virgin hardwood pressed together, no additives, no dirt. It's going to give us great clean smoke. More information, check out stokedbarbecue.com. We do carry these at White Feather Meats, but you can go there, look at the retailers. Great fuel source that we're using today. So let's just get her loaded up and get going. Pellet hopper's got 20 pounds of pellets in it. We're probably not even going to use half of that because these are higher BTU, longer burning. Let's just get ourselves set up here for 225 degrees. We'll get the pit going while we prep the briskets. He loves this stuff.
Ready for some brisket? Huh?
So, bone-in brisket, as you can see right here. When you saw this, I'm sure when we processed it, if you watched the first part of this video, but this is that breastbone. We're leaving that in. I'm gonna start with the bone-in brisket, but I do want to take some of this fat off. I'm gonna take the fat off. I'm gonna put it in some foil pans. We're gonna put that wrapped in aluminum foil inside the smoker overnight. We're gonna render it down so we have some beef tallow to add to these when we wrap. If we wrap. We think we are, but when we do, we'll have some tallow. We're gonna take my 6-inch Victorinox, that nice Kydex sheath that we just added to our website. If you want one, you better go get one. Get it tuned up a little bit. And I'm going to take some of that exterior fat off. I don't want to get too much of it off there, but I do want to get some of that down. It's just harder for it to render inside the smoker, so better just take it off now. Plus, like mentioned, I get to save it for tallow. So we'll just go, and this Tajima Wagyu beef it's pretty loaded with fat. The angles are a little bit harder for me to trim just because with that bone on there has the brisket sitting up here a little bit strange, but I'm going to take a little bit off right here up near this point as well. Just those big globs I kind of want to get out of there. Now, one thing I'm not going to be able to do is take this big strip out right here because I don't want to mess up where it's connected to that bone, but some of this heavier stuff we'll take out. Just leave a nice protective coating right here on the top. And once we get these trimmed up, we're going to season these with our black seasoning.
I'm going to put some of this fat in this pan, cover it up tightly with aluminum foil because we don't want to get the fat too smoky. And we're going to render it down and use it when we, probably use it when we wrap. We'll see. If we wrap. We may not wrap.
This one's pretty close, I do believe. That fat just softens up so quick. I think that one's pretty much ready. As mentioned, There's still a lot of fat on the inside there, but I can't peel this apart like I normally would and take that fat out, or it's going to defeat the purpose of leaving it attached to the bone. So this one, that's how she's going to stay. You can see, like here, that bone's been removed. So on this one, I can take just a little bit of that fat out of there. Just those heavy spots. These have only been out of the cooler for maybe 20 minutes. And that's just already really softened up. Almost turning it into an oil. If I squeeze that, I'd probably get some liquid out of it. I'm just gonna go through here and take a little bit of this heavy fat out. Just like that. Think they're ready for the pit?
I think it's ready to shower them with the blessing of black.
Okay, this is for your second pan.
Right here.
We're going in with the blessing of Bearded Butcher black seasoning, Canaan brown sugar, molasses. This just creates a awesome bark on smoked meats. So whenever we go on brisket, we go with Bearded Butcher's black. So we're just going to do a nice blessing. You can see that a little bit of that pepper in there. People wondered why we called it black seasoning, because it's not, the seasoning's not actually black inside the shaker. But when you see these on the pit tomorrow, when we open that lid, you're going to know exactly why we call this black seasoning. So I'm going to hit the top just pretty liberally, and I'm going to flip it, do the bottom, and then I'll go back to the top and get the top again. So now let's hit this bottom. Look at that juiciness. These briskets had marbling running through the whole thing. Don't think we're going to have too much trouble with them staying nice and juicy throughout this cook. Even distribution of black seasoning. Now let's go back to the top side. We want to get all the crooks and crannies and crevices filled up. Even the birds are singing. They're so happy that we're smoking brisket. All right, that one's ready for the pit. On to the bone-in brisket. We know the seasoning isn't going to penetrate this bone, but you never know. We might gnaw on this tomorrow. Scott, guess what?
Standing by.
Thank you.
So I've got a 4-pound bucket. Comes with a handy dandy scoop. And I am refilling the said shaker. 2-year shelf life. Grab a bucket. Soon to probably be more of like a tough Mylar printed bag. We're working on those right now. So by the time you watch this, we may have switched the bucket to a bag. But same purpose.
Either way,
refill whenever you need
get a 4-pound bucket or a 4-pound bag, because Sunday afternoon you run out of Bearded Butcher blend seasoning. I can guarantee you're gonna be glad you have that bucket in the cupboard.
So we really don't know as far as time frame. What was the difference in weight?
20. Oh, you'd have to look back on the
Hold
video.
on.
Yeah, we've got
Be right back.
we've got the weights.
No, I've got the package.
We've got the weights. It's a lot of surface area to cover. 24 and 12.
24 pounds. So the bone-in brisket is
Double.
almost exactly double in weight, but we don't know if the bone is going to carry heat into the brisket.
Sort of like a pork butt.
What's interesting, 3 years ago, almost to the day, June 19th, 2020, we did pellet smoker versus charcoal ceramic smoker overnight brisket cook. So we're back to a comparison. 3 years, almost to the day later, boneless versus bone-in. It's about 9 p.m. And so we're not sure. Probably get up around 4:30 or 5 and see where we're at 7.5, 8 hours. See what the briskets are doing. See if we're gonna wrap. guess kind of play it by ear from there on out. See my 360 hunting blind right out there. That's where that deer bacon.
Got some deer bacon.
Got some
that
deer bacon running out there.
lives. And there's some bacon that just ran by. And Charlie thought he was gonna take it down, but it's standing right out there. Literally, where the deer bacon came from was right outside that hunting blind.
Pretty sure I'm a member of the LLC too. Guess where I'm gonna be this fall, boys? I'm gonna be sitting in the 360 hunting blind.
Hey,
Shoot me some deer bacon.
the bean's gonna be in that one.
Ha ha!
I'm ready. If you're ready,
Scott's ready.
we're ready.
I'm ready.
Grill's ready.
The grill's ready.
The smoke is ready.
The briskets are ready.
Everybody's ready. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are the viewers ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready in there?
So down towards the stack end, we know there's going to be more heat. So that's where we're going to put the bigger bone-in brisket. And we're just going to set that baby right there. It's completely over the drip tray. That way we get all that nice fat run down into our bucket. So that one's going there.
On your
Scott
way.
gets his big paw out of there.
I gotta get my probes set up. This was my job.
This one can just go right there. Fat tallow. Put those.
We probably don't need 3.
I think I'm feeling
Just gonna
2,
do
bro.
2. Okay.
Let me scoot that brisket over just a little bit. You might be wondering why we're not putting the top rack in, put those tallow pans on the rack, but she's just a little too tall. So we got to go without the top rack. Man, look at that blue smoke rolling, boys. Scott's gonna probe in the thickest portion in that point. So he's going in the point on both of them. 1 second.
Get it? Did you get it, Spencer? I'm running 2 probes, which is a really nice feature because obviously we have 2 different thicknesses, 2 different pieces of meat.
Both probes going in the point, thickest portion.
This is running off of the Fireboard app. So we had our pit open, so to cool down a little bit. Set point's at 225. Probe 1's 40 is at 41 degrees. Well, that one just went in. They both zeroed out pretty much at 40. That's the temp of the meat. Now I got something for you, Seth. Hang tight.
Oh goodness.
Here we go, Seth.
That's for me.
It's been in storage for a minute or 2, but I think it'll do. You need a blanket?
Do you have a pillow?
Here we go.
Oh, you leave.
That's a true barbecuer.
He leaves. Oh yeah. Isn't there a country song about using a bag of deer corn for a pillow beside your truck bed? Oh, all right, you shut that light off.
I'll see you in the AM.
All right, nobody will mind if I snore out here. No, in all seriousness, even though I'd probably sleep out here just fine, these briskets, they're getting put to bed. Scott and I will monitor them through the Fireboard app. We plan on 8 hours from now, which is about 5 a.m. We're going to meet back here unless for some reason we call each other in the middle of the night and say, hey, Spencer, we need to go take care of some briskets. But we're thinking that probably won't happen. It's probably going to be about 5 a.m. that we can come in. We can assess them. We'll make a decision whether we wrap or we don't wrap, add some tallow, etc. So until then, let's go get some shut-eye. So if you have a processor like us who's been around in continuous operation for 30 to 50 years, you need a reliable resource for all the stuff you see here. I mean, we've got hooks, trolleys, saws, knives, hoists, cradles, all kinds of stuff. This particular portion of the building was designed by Koch. Koch is now Bunzel. Bunzel is one of the largest and most inclusive resources for all the processing items that you'll need. So if you're a small
or mid-level processor, they're perfect. But if you're a huge processor, they're big enough to handle that, and they have stuff for the home user. Let's take a quick walkthrough. So not just the animal handling equipment, the slaughter floor stuff, but everything you need from all of your various hooks, trolleys, all the stuff that it takes to really put this together. Rail systems, switches, of course, cutlery. Jump out here. You're gonna have consumables like your saw blades, your packaging equipment, literally thousands of items available. So for us, a great resource is Bunzel, formerly Koch. 140 years they've been in business. A lot of what you see in the Bearded Butcher's facility came from this resource. Check them out, bunzelpd.com. You can order a magazine just like yourself, or you can go on to their website and search it. They literally have everything for your butchering needs. All that smoke. Just after 5 o'clock a.m. the next morning. Sounds like, I know I was up at 3:30, but sounds like, Spencer said he got like 4 hours of sleep.
4 hours.
Lissy got barely any, and I don't know about old big guy over there, but we didn't get much sleep, and I think it was the excitement of thinking about briskets, like when you leave for the airport early in the morning, you know you have to get up and you can't sleep. I think that's what we had going on. We are right on target. Come on over here, let me show you. This Yoder just plugged along perfectly. You can see, didn't use a ton of pellets. As Scott mentioned, thought maybe we would use less than half a bag, and I'd say that's so. But on here, so our boneless brisket is at 164, our bone-in is at 141. So we're gonna go ahead and get the butcher paper laid out. We're gonna wrap the boneless one, we're gonna add a little tallow to it. We're gonna get it wrapped up back in the smoker, and then looks like we're gonna have to wait a couple hours for the bone-in one, but it's time to wrap.
Got top tip and fold your butcher paper like that to lock it in.
First look. You do the honors, Scott. Pop that sucker open. Yeah, baby. Look at that. Woo! Wonder how full our grease bucket is. That's the boneless one. So I do want to mention, last night I watched our Instagram story back and I saw the way I had this brisket tipped up. We didn't get it on camera for the YouTube video, but as you can see, I called Scott and I was like, hey, run out there, flip that down, that brisket down so it's bone side down. So if you're wondering why it's positioned just a little bit different, we were like, that thing's got to be laying flat on the bone. So that's why it looks a little bit different. Let's go ahead and get this probe. Is this alarm going to go off or anything if I pull this probe? So let's get this probe out of the boneless one. Get it set out here. And then I'm going to go straight to the butcher paper. Yeah, baby. I'm going to set it off to the side. We'll pour some tallow on the butcher paper. We'll pour some tallow over top of the brisket. Look at that juice coming out of there. Oh, it's never too early for brisket.
We're gonna have breakfast brisket, and we're gonna have lunch brisket.
Look at
we're gonna
that.
have dinner brisket.
Look at that. Ooh, yeah. Let's just go a little bit on the paper and a little bit over top of the brisket. What do you think, Scott?
Looks awesome.
Smells like French fries. I'm not good at wrapping presents, so.
Somebody critiquing your driving. You want to drive?
Let's see how Scott's hot tip holds up. I want to wind up with the fat side up, so right now the fat side down.
Where did that put us? Now the fat side up, right?
Yeah.
So fat,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Now the fat side down, right? Should we check it? It's too early in the morning.
Fat side down. Fat side up. Fat side down. One more roll and you'll have it. Perfect.
Perfect. That.
Point down there.
Points down here. We're gonna go right back on the Yoder, just like that. Get that probe back in that point. Now we wait for the bone-in one.
Looking great. We did swap location of the briskets. We took the bone-in brisket and moved it over here, and the boneless over here. Using a thermal thermometer, we found that we were a little hotter over here where the actual fire pot is coming in. So swap those guys, but otherwise it's just the waiting game.
And it's 8 a.m., so we're officially 11 hours into the cook.
I want to see how tender this boneless brisket is. So it's reading 195 on the probe. Just get a hole in there a little bit bigger than. That's pretty close. It's just about there.
That black.
That black. Last night a little liquor talk.
Can't remember everything we said, but we said it all. Back to you.
Last night we let the liquor. So, boneless brisket, probe temp is 200.
We're right at 13 hours. Yeah, 13 hours.
over.
A little over 13 hours.
We're just. Oh yeah. That feels.
Get that point up. There we go.
Oh yeah. So we're going to, and this is 160. So we're gonna wrap the bone in, and we're gonna pull the boneless off to rest. You gonna grab that sucker?
I am.
Let's peel back a little bit on the bottom.
Oh, baby. Wow.
Oh, we need tallow.
Need some tallow. Look at that. Oh, jiggly, 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 jiggly. Same thing we did on the last one. Gonna go in with a little of that tallow on the paper. Now we're just gonna go. Man, that tallow is so clean and clear and juicy. Daggone, son. So, do you think we're gonna have enough paper, Scott, or are we gonna have to fold a third piece?
No, I didn't think about making this longer. I'll
Go
get
and
more
just fold
paper.
a third piece.
I'll
real
get
quick.
more paper.
We had to go 3 sheets wide on our butcher paper because this chunk's so big. That's a chunk of barbecue right there.
Oh, that's the fat side up. Hold up. Yep. Let me flip this for you.
Stick it in. There we go. Okay. Bone ends going back on the smoker. The boneless one's coming out to rest. There's the boneless one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open this up. We're going to burp it. So we're actually going to slow that cooking process down. We're going to rewrap it, put it in a bath towel, and get it in our cooler to rest. So this one's going to rest longer than the boned-in one. We are going to go to our smoker. We're going to go to the Yoder. We're going to bump our temp up. So we'll probably go up to 250 or 275 now and finish out that bone-in one and then get it off and let it rest as well. But onto this one. Good?
Just pick it up and I'll slide this down.
So juicy. Okay. We're gonna burp this. We're gonna open it up. And we're gonna get that cooking process to stop. We're gonna let it set out for just a little bit.
We're gonna rewrap too. See, there's a little tear in the paper there, but that'll just let that.
Mine, well, you don't have gloves on. It's just so juicy. Actually, I'll start up here. So we're gonna let that set for a little bit, let that steam off, get that cooling process to stop, and then we'll wrap. Wrap up in some towels. And then we're just gonna pop open the cooler lid, and we're going in for a nap. We'll snap it shut. We're probably gonna rest this one between 3 and 4 hours while we wait for the bone-in one to finish. So, see you in a little bit.
Ugh. Barbecue.
Low and slow.
All you do is wait. And we are tired of waiting.
So,
Maybe that's why we're the butchers and not the barbecuers.
the boneless one's been in this cooler for like 3 hours. The bone-in one, yeah, come on over, Spencer. We'll take a probe.
Obviously doing
Probe
a
tenderness.
bone in. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now that is probing. Try that stuff. That's probing.
Oh, that's tender. Wow.
I think we get this off.
the-
let it rest.
The most resistance is through the paper.
So
I think we're coming off.
What are we? We're 17 hours. No, 16 hours.
Which we're in about the mid 190s on our probes. That's why we weren't sure if we should go over 200 or not. But with the probe tenderness,
So
it's
we
coming
get it off. Burp it.
So what's going to happen? Like mentioned, the boneless brisket's been in here resting for 3 hours. This one's going to come off. We're going to get it rewrapped, get it in some towels, get it in the cooler, and we're going to let it rest for an hour. That'll put 4 hours on the boneless brisket, 1 hour rest on the bone in. That way we can get them out and slice them side by side.
Let's
Sound like
do
a plan?
it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are full. Oh, so full. Oh, gotta get a pan and
That's
put
what I was-
under there.
That's what I sent your son for.
No. Oh my goodness gracious golly.
There's got to
Oh,
be a permanent
look at that.
reminder on your concrete.
Ooh.
You saving it?
I'll put the raccoons on that.
I need a pan.
I'm gonna
need a pan. I'm gonna need a.
We got bones falling out the bottom of this thing.
A lot of rendering has happened. We're gonna try to get you a look-see here. Oh,
Oh, mercy.
Oh, mercy. Oh, mercy.
Look at those bones.
Oh, look at that. Stuff's
Literally.
just falling off of there.
Literally falling
There's
off.
the bones that I was talking about. Oh, that's a bone. That's a bone too. I was gonna take a bite initially when it fell off there. It's a good thing I didn't.
Those are for Charles.
There's another one that came out. Look at this.
Look at the jiggle.
Look at that. There's another bone that just fell
You gotta
out.
get that on Instagram.
Oh,
Melissa.
I want it so bad. We didn't see that. I shouldn't have done that. Now I've got to wait an hour before I get to do that again.
I didn't even eat lunch today because I wanted.
Oh my gosh, Seth,
I wanted to gorge on brisket.
Oh,
Give it the wiggle. Look at that running out of there, like this. Give it a little. Yeah, look at the jiggle. It's jiggly.
you may not have noticed this when you were doing it, but I was actually helping by holding those. Like,
I got you.
you got me.
I got you. Okay, we should have stuck to our rolls.
Towels, Alyssa.
Here, let me go ahead and pick it back up. OCD.
locking.
My OCD is gonna take over.
4 will probably do it. Maybe.
Good thing. Oh my.
See? All the lines are going the right way.
OCD.
Told you I have to throw a couple.
Yeah, let's put a couple up here, Alyssa.
Sorry, my lines are going the wrong way.
There we go. So you know I can see. Let's go ahead and just toss another one up there. Can't hurt. Yeah. Okay. That'll work.
Yeah, it's fine.
Don't drop the baby.
Oh man.
All right. Down for a nap.
One more hour.
Actually, I already know kind of what it tastes like. I didn't wait. Ooh, it was worth it. Oh man, that's good.
See ya at 2:30. So let's do a little math. I know how you like to do math on camera. We're 15 hours at noon, so 16 and a half hours. So we're 16 and a half hours in, right? It's 1:30. Started at 9 p.m. 9 to noon, noon 15, 16 and a half hours. So 16 and 1:30. The bone-in brisket took 16 and a half hours. How long did the boneless one take? You have to look back on the camera. We
Roll
can't
the footage
remember.
back.
It's on
Like
it's on the screen.
12 hours. So 12 hours for the boneless, 16 and a half hours for the bone-in, so 4.5 hours longer. They're both in the cooler. Now we get to let them rest. Slice and serve.
That we've
Brisket
all been
time.
waiting for. You want the bone-in one first, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, the smell. Oh, that smells so good.
You want to do the honors so I save my paws? I'm sure
Sure.
it's still hot.
Harry, I'm going in. Oh, it's upside down. Guess I should have paid attention. That's okay, because we're going to lift those out of there, aren't we?
Yeah, you lift the brisket up. I'll get rid of that nasty paper.
Hold on, let me get these bones out of here. Ooh, look at that. Ribs and brisket all at the same time. So you want me to flip it up and put it on the board or no?
No,
Aren't you taking that
I'm just
off?
gonna get rid of the paper. I'm just gonna just pick it up and I'm gonna get rid of this other paper. Then just go straight back down. Okay, there we go. There you go. Now I can strip, unless you can just pull it off.
Probably be easier to cut, but I can use my gloved hand if you want.
Get it. Get
It's hot.
started. Boy, some of that meat on that bone is gonna be great. Now you can probably do it. We're saving that puppy. Ooh.
Wow. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, look at that. Get a load of that, Spencer. Look at that. Ooh.
That looks really good. Now, since you've got the gloves on, if you want to just maybe just put it on this side, flipped over. There you go. Yep.
Started out with bone in.
Bone in. Now let's put the other one right beside it. That way you get the full comparison. Hey, you're already eating a brisket.
Who is Josh?
How is it? Does it taste like beef?
Tastes
Easy.
really good.
Easy. I'm getting excited, okay? This is like opening up Christmas presents.
Ooh. Yeah, there you go. So this one is larger. So I think overall, most likely, it didn't shrink as much during the cooking process. Probably because all that bone was on there protecting it. So I don't think it reduced. I mean, you can see it did not reduce in size as much as the boneless one. Both of them are jiggly, both nice and jiggly. So let's just get started and we'll slice them up. Then we eat. We're slicing. I'm gonna start with the one that was boneless first. My first cut, I'm gonna take this corner off. I'm just gonna put this in a couple. Wow, that just falls apart. Now I'm just gonna go all the way across that entire brisket. Scott and I were having a discussion about how we like a little bit thicker slices, and then we cut those thicker slices into chunks. Look at that. Ooh, baby. What do you think?
Looks delicious.
It's gonna pull apart. I'm not gonna do it yet though. So I'm gonna get a few slices there. Got those nice chunks. Now I'm gonna go up here just a little bit further. Look at that. People go crazy whenever you squeeze it, so I'm not even squeezing it, and you can see the juice running down through there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go this direction on this point. Get some nice chunks going. Wow, this is just gonna fall apart. Look at that. Gorgeous. So there we have some flat and some point. I'm gonna do the same thing to this one, and then we'll get them cubed up a little bit, and we're gonna go in for the taste. This Montana knife, fillet knife, is working really good to slice this because of the length of the blade. Wowza. Not quite as much of a bend to it. I'm assuming that bone probably had something to do with that. Plus that piece was kind of thick, but there's some of that flat. Now this point is massive. So we're gonna go this side and just start slicing. Wow, look at those pieces. That's one heck of a brisket slice. I can't wait. I have all these other little piggies have dug in with at their couldn't resist. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't wait to dig in.
Technically, what I ate was rib meat, not actual brisket.
Here we go. Which one you going for first?
Oh, I suppose we just go for the traditional boneless. Look at that, the juice. Oh. That flavor, the juiciness, that Tajima Bourbon mash fed Wagyu.
That was a flat.
I'm gonna try to go for the whole flight here, so I don't want to take huge bites.
I want to get some of that nice crispy bark right there. So tender.
Great flavor, the black seasoning, the white oak pellets that we use.
Oh boy, is that mine? Thank you.
Lissa?
Thank you.
Now let's see if there's any difference in
I don't know why I'm still wearing my gloves.
like tenderness or anything like that with the bone-in versus boneless. Okay, yeah, this one's not doesn't feel quite as tender on this flat end. I don't know if it was that bite, but the flavor is like ridiculous. Like, it seems a little firmer, but it's somehow maybe a tiny bit richer. I don't know. It's got the bones there.
Probably because of that bone. And I knew with the finger test that one wasn't quite as gonna be quite as tender.
Oh, got a nice ring on it right there on that point end. I don't know, man. I would say for all the hassle, the bone in is probably, you know, the traditional boneless brisket is probably just the route to go. There's not like we learned with the pork
Not a
butts,
super big wow factor.
a bone-in pork butt pulls easier because the heat travels into the bone.
Now, unless you go up here and you grab some of this and you're just
Well,
completely-
that's a
you're
very good
completely
point. This
blown
is the
away
rib
by
meat. Oh, that's like a bonus.
Yeah, it just depends on what kind of time frame you want to spend on it. If you want to spend 15 and a half, 16 hours, do a bone-in one. If you want it done in, 12, do the boneless.
There's only only one thing left to do here, so
Hold on a second, I want to get one too.
I'm gonna put some coleslaw on there. This is a trick Spencer taught me, one of our events.
10 times better.
Put some coleslaw. Yeah, I do want barbecue. I don't know if putting barbecue on brisket's like putting ketchup on steak, but this is not just any barbecue.
Look at that stack.
Get a load of that. Look at that. Okay.
Can't see.
Let's see here.
All right.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even have to try to bite through that.
How is it?
Bomb.com.
Is it a good? I didn't eat lunch, so the
The
anticipation.
crunch of the coleslaw, the tenderness of that brisket, that big beef flavor, amazing. So bone-in versus
Incredible.
boneless. Only thing really here was we got some bonus rib meat out of the bone-in. You did invest. We invested another 4 hours into it. Both turned out amazing. The flavor of this Tajima Wagyu, full-blooded Wagyu that we butchered, is pretty outstanding.
I would say if you have an opportunity, you know, and you want to do a bone-in brisket, just go to your butcher and ask them to leave the bone in it. And then, of course, they'll adjust their price accordingly because you're paying for that extra fat and bone. But no real significant reason, like mentioned, to do it. The extra time, you know, maybe you want to pick around through that, which we will, eat that rib meat and stuff. There is a cool factor in it. So if you're in it for the cool factor, you want to post some stuff on social media and get a big rise out of your audience, whatever, do a bone in by all means, because it's massive and looks cool on your smoker. On the cutting board, this one I think was just a little bit more tender, maybe a little bit more flavor up in the flat of the bone in, probably because of that bone. But overall,
And maybe
incredible.
maybe we were a tiny bit impatient. Maybe 20 hours. You want to put that much into that, but
I don't know though. I mean, much more
yeah.
it would have started to fall apart. So we were leery about overcooking it as well.
I think it turned out awesome.
I think
both of them
both of them were a success.
taste awesome.
I don't know
That's
if
what
there's
it's all about.
if there's really a winner. Same animal, 2 briskets. You saw the processing, you saw the seasoning, you saw the smoking. This was your bone-in versus boneless Tajima Wagyu bourbon mash fed beef brisket video comparison. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I'm enjoying this sandwich and I'm gonna keep eating it while everybody else in the team comes over and gets some. We're all gonna take it home. This will be our supper, maybe lunch for a few days. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, hit subscribe, throw in a comment, tell us if you've ever had bone-in brisket. And until next time, see ya.